his hands full in Wednesday's episode. What can you tease about?
The Wednesday gone or the Wednesday?
The one that's coming up.
Unfinished business.
Unfinished business.
Yes.
So what can you tell us about his interrogations with Tommy and everything else?
What happened in it? I can't remember.
The count returns and Tommy is suspected of dealing vertigo.
Oh yeah, oh that's right, yeah, they all look like they're dealing vertigo, don't they? And perhaps feeding my theory a little bit that there's something going on underneath that club, other things perhaps. So yeah, I just chased him down. But of course, the big conflict with it is that, you know, here we go. Just as I'm mending things with my dear, darling daughter, I then go chasing after her boyfriend and accusing him of all sorts of things. And but there's good reason for it, and I'm not just going off on one of my little tearaway investigations. You know, there's definitely good reason for it. But obviously, I've upset the daughter again. Never failed to do that.
Oh, TV, you've done it again.
Oh, TV. Oh, never learn. Another conflict. It's terrible. So yeah, there's a bit of shenanigan there in terms of seem to have a good reason to chase after Mr. Merlin, Mr. Tommy Merlin.
So how do you think Detective Lance has changed now that he's seen his wife again, now that he's had that turmoil of, oh my God, could my daughter actually be alive? Like, how is that showing itself in the way that he acts towards Laurel or towards anyone in the future?
Well, I think one of the aspects, you know, obviously grief is a huge part of his life. And I think at the moment where you sort of put it to bed and be like, she's gone, she's done with, one could start to turn a corner. When Diana Lance comes back with a new element of hope, it's like, hope, okay, well now I've got to bring it all up again, the idea, as opposed to just getting past it. And I think when those hopes are extinguished through that little escapade, it does allow him perhaps to finally, can't resolve grief, but, you know, resolve hope, you know, forget about hope, and somehow move on. And I think that's probably what that allowed him to do. I bet they bring up hope again at some point, though. So yeah, I think, you know, hopefully he'll, yeah, maybe just have to, he'll get through that, hopefully. No, he won't at all, but I was just wondering.
I mean, because if they bring Dinah back in season 2, old feelings could be stirred up again.
Yeah, well, that was kind of like the best day of Lance's life in the last the last 3 years, or 5 years even, when they came back and started, you know, just behaving like a couple again, even though it's for a terrible reason. And, you know, he remembered just being a human being and love and relationship. And
is that the last we see of Alex Kingston's character for a while?
I don't know, you know, they pop these things down there, lay a bit of track, sow a seed, and sometimes, you know, things happen. So I hope we see her again. I love working with her. She's brilliant. We worked on ER years ago together, and it was hilarious when she suddenly pops back now, and she's great. She is hilarious. Oh, she's funny.
Talk a little bit about, you get to do some action on the show.
Not much.
Oh, the word some is a loose-fitting kind of thing.
I held my gun up once, so I've done some of that.
Talk a little bit about, is it something that you'd like to do more of, or you see what everyone else is doing, you're like, I can do this as well?
You know, whatever's going on with the character, I had to jump off a wall, I think, in one episode, and that was about as, like, the first time I'd seen met the stunt team, like, hi, I'm Paul, I work on the show, you're the stunt team, nice to meet you finally. And that was it, I haven't seen them since. I don't mind doing all that. I mean, I like a nice scene sitting down with the daughter and a bit of family neurosis and all the rest of it, you know what I mean? But if some running around stuff goes on, great, get on with it, you know. But I don't sit there at night sort of dreaming about it.
Well, some people like to do a lot of action. Some people like to, you know what I mean?
I'll get too old for all that nonsense, concept. How old is Tom Cruise? He's still doing it all, isn't he?
About 69.
69, he still looks like he's 39 or 29. I know, it's remarkable. No, I think there's that bloke, Mr. Amel, that will leave the action to. He's doing a good job of it, isn't he?
It's okay.
Do you ever get tired if you're always scowling on the show? Do you ever want to do a happy scene?
I did one the other day. We found a smile moment. Because there was one, I think it was in episode 3 I smiled. And I've been wondering ever since, but you can't force it, you know what I mean? There's nothing to smile about, nothing to smile about, you know. You can't really be like, I'm going to smile in the scene where I've just found out everything's falling apart, you know, it's not going to happen. But we did have a little scene with Laurel the other day, and it was really nice. because it started off in such a bad place, and then by the end of it, it was like, oh my god, he's smiling. And that's a testament to the writing, you know. It was a well-written scene. So look out for it.
Given what
Lance
he finds
smiles.
out in this next episode, the suspicions about Tommy and maybe having drugs at the bar and so on, is Detective Lance going to kind of want to weigh in on his daughter's love life a little bit as far as Tommy and Oliver?
Say that again.
Tommy versus Oliver. Which would Dad want her to be rooting?
Oh, they're both dreadful. Dreadful human beings. You know, what's the line? Well, I've said this line. Katie and I were talking about this thing in terms of how the things that their characters would have said, our characters. Oh yeah, he may be rich, but he's not good enough for you. You know what I mean? It's just like, these guys may be rich, but they're not good enough for you. You know, you're my daughter, you're blah 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 blah. You know, he worships every ground she walks on. Yeah, these guys are just rich, entitled, you know, idiots. And especially before, and since he has improved somewhat, he hasn't been arrested since, well, apart from when I arrested him. But you know, in terms of the clubbing boy throwing TVs out windows, all that nonsense, you know, it's clearly changed in that respect. But neither of them would. I mean, just the thought of them getting married, any of them, just dreadful, awful people.